0330 hours, 3rd Platoon, Combat Llamas, Ambush, Patrol. The darkness was total, broken only by the dull glow of a Kim light buried under a poncho, just enough for the map team to verify grid coordinates. 3 Minutemen crouched behind a low rock wall, faces painted black, rifles cold in gloved hands. They'd been in position since 2230. The intel was solid. A PLA recon squad moving along County Route 9, testing response times before a larger push at dawn. The op word was clear: interdict and delay enemy movement along the Reg Bridge corridor. No reinforcements, no drones, no backup. Just 8 men, 2 claymores, and a mission. The lead scout, call sign Rook 1, whispered into the mic: movement, 5-man element, column formation, 10 seconds out. The commander's intent echoed in his head: disrupt, delay, and disappear. We're ghosts tonight. Hit hard, get out. Team Alpha's 2-man LPOP watched as the enemy squad entered the kill zone. A narrow road bend with ditches on either side and thick pine canopy overhead. Right where the scheme of maneuver said they'd be. The Chinese squad carried QBZ rifles with mounted flashlights, lit. Arrogant, not expecting locals with night vision goggles and rehearsed ambush drills. The Minutemen had rehearsed the terrain model for 2 days straight. Their bounding fire and withdrawal routes were dialed in. Rook 1 clicked his mic twice. Boom. A command detonated claymore shredded the entire column. Before the echoes faded, the Minutemen opened fire in disciplined burst. Fire until the bolt locks or they stop moving, just like the op order brief said. Mad minute. Confusion, screaming, return fire too high and wide. Break contact came over comms. Team Bravo, stage 100 meters north, popped smoke and engaged as Team Alpha fell back to Rally Point Dagger. QRF wasn't needed. Mission complete. Red Bridge corridor denied. Time on target, 43 seconds. Casualty count, 0 friendly, 5 hostile. Back at the hide side, the team debriefed by headlamp over beef jerky and warm canteen water. No medals, no fanfare, just a quiet satisfaction of a mission done right. Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. I am your host, the average operations order for Minuteman video enjoyer that your mom says we have at home. Thanks for watching. Guys, the purpose of today's video is we are going to be discussing how to write and apply an operations order for Minuteman purposes, or if you're an infantryman watching this at work and you need to learn how to write a op order, this will help you keep your squad leader off your back. All I ask you guys do is like the video, comment down below if this helps you write your op order and what things I bring up along the way. This is going to be a longer format video. You will need your pen, paper, and writing material of whatever you need to stay engaged. Maybe grab some caffeine or whatever you need, and let's just get right into it. Guys, keep in mind, there is a Discord server that is hidden behind a secret paywall known as the Patreon. If you join the Patreon for $5 a month, it gives you access to said Discord server. Thank you for doing that. All right, guys, this is not going to be a copy and paste out of the Ranger Handbook. This is going to give you real-world application throughout to help keep you guys dialed in. This can help you be self-reliant in your small teams or groups for neighborhood security, or really just anyone that is more serious about local readiness. This will help you. First and foremost, we have to go over the paragraphs of the op order, okay? Sergeant Major eats sugar cookies, also known as situation, mission, execution, sustainment, and command and signal. We're going to go over each one in great detail. It's going to be a long format video. So, like I said, hit the like button, grab your note-taking material, and let's get right into it. Part 1, situation. What's going on around you? What factors are going to affect the mission? Terrain, threats, friendlies, civilians, and weather. Purpose, build context. This paragraph defines what your team is walking into and how the environment could affect the mission. Key subsections include area of interest, AOI, that is area of interest. What outside factors might impact the mission? An example might be civil unrest spreading toward your town, wildfire zone expanding, hostile element moving nearby. Area of operations, AO. Define your boundaries. Northern boundary, Highway 50, south Cedar Creek, east train tracks, west water tower, or whatever works for you in your actual area of operation. Define the boundaries. Terrain and weather. Use OACOC. That acronym stands for observation, avenues of approach, key terrain, obstacles, cover, and concealment. You need to always apply OACOC. Okay, observation, avenues of approach, key terrain, obstacles, and cover and concealment. Weather. Will it affect visibility, movement, gear, morale? Enemy forces. Who or what potential threats, size, capabilities, weapons, patterns of life? What is the most likely course of action? Most dangerous course of action for the enemy force? I say again, the most likely course of action or the most dangerous course of action for the enemy force. Identify what uniforms, everything the enemy has. Friendly forces, who else is operating in your area of operation? Other teams, other platoons, other companies, other battalions, local authorities, mutual aid groups. What are their missions and their weapons capabilities? That way, you do not have a blue on blue incident. Attachments and detachments. Anyone being added or pulled to your team for this operation. Do you have fisters? Do you have MPs? Do you have anyone that will be attached as a attachment or detachment, or are you losing anybody? Civilian considerations. Are there civilians present? Hostile, neutral, friendly? What impact does this have? Local infrastructure, hospital, power or roads, political tensions. Minuteman specific tips include build maps using tools like GPS, Google Earth. You can literally Google the area you're going to be working in if you still have internet and phone battery. Develop threat profiles with open source intel, radio chatter, or neighborhood watch reports. Use terrain models or sand tables to brief your team. A terrain model or sand table is something you can make in your backyard. Just make sure you sanitize it prior to executing the mission, because if the enemy finds it, they now know your mission. An example of this paragraph would sound as follows. AO grid 25 kilo Tango Lima 96233344 to Tango Lima 96343255. You always want to repeat grids every time you read them out loud, but for time purposes I will continue. Urban residential zone, terrain is open with limited cover, civilians are neutral but on edge. Suspected looting cells operating in 3-man teams with stolen sidearms. Local volunteer security team operating at 2 grids west. Weather, light rain, low visibility after 2100. All right, so now that you guys understand the situation paragraph, just understand you're painting a picture for all friendly elements being on the mission. Part 2, mission. What are you doing? Who's doing it? When, where, and why? This needs to be a complete mission statement. Okay, so an example would be combat llamas, attack to seize, objective dagger, no later than, give a date, time, group, in order to allow friendly freedom of maneuver. You always give 2 levels higher for your mission statement. So if you're operating as a company, you would give the battalion and the brigade. I'll give you another example. Combat llamas, attack to seize, objective dagger, no later than, give a date, time, group, in order to allow friendly freedom of maneuver on objective dagger, or a main supply route like an MSR. Pretty cut and dry for paragraph 2 for the mission. Just make sure that everyone understands it verbatim in your team, squad, platoon, and that you give two echelons up. That way everyone has a completed full picture of why you're conducting the mission. Moving on to execution. How exactly are you going to get the mission done? Step-by-step plan and tasks. Purpose. Explain the plan clearly. Everyone should understand how you're going to get from step 0 to success. Oftentimes, you will have different phases of the operation. Phase 1, planning. Phase 2, SP. Phase 3, boots on ground. Phase 4, on the objective. Phase 5, reconsolidate, etc. Let me give you some key subsections. Part A, or alpha, commander's intent, big picture. Everything falls apart. What's the goal that must still be achieved? Okay, so give the big picture. You have to understand the commander's intent. An example, the purpose of this operation is to ensure zero unauthorized access to the neighborhood between 2200 and 0600. Everyone must understand the commander's intent. Concept of the operation. This is your overview or storyline of how the mission will unfold. Phases, sequence, timing. Phase 1, infiltration via wooded tree line. Phase 2, set 2-man LPOPs. Phase 3, conduct patrol in rotating pairs, etc. The concept of the operation. Charlie, scheme of maneuver. Specifics, movement formations, routes, where you'll stage, fallback, link up, discuss tactical movements, bounding overwatch, break contact drills. Scheme of maneuver is literally how you will maneuver, what formations, etc. Scheme of fires. Do you have any direct or indirect fire support? In a non-military setting, this may be limited, but you might coordinate noise, flares, distraction devices. If you have mortars or artillery or close air support, this is when you would also do that in your scheme of fires. Define rules of engagement. Okay, are we weapons control status, weapons tight, weapons free, weapons hold? This is where you will establish your ROE, your rules of engagement. It's not always going to be automatic. Everyone is in the ROE. Tasks of subordinate units. Break it down by team. Alpha secures Northern Roadblock, Bravo mans LPOP, Charlie QRF staged at Rally Point Alpha. Give everyone a task. This will also help them plan. So tasks of subordinate units. Coordinating instructions. Timing. Uniform. Marking. Passwords. Comms. Windows. Rally points, emergency signals. You must have comms windows. You must establish rally points, emergency signals. You need to include contingency plans, lost comms, lost man, enemy contact. All plans fall apart at first contact, so that's why you need to get all of these passwords, comms windows, and rally points, emergency signals, contingency plans, and lost man and enemy contact plans in order now. Minuteman specific tips include practice this on the sand table briefs or whiteboard planning, use laminated terrain models, use hand signals, noise discipline, light discipline, and prearranged signals. Here's an example. Team A infiltrates by creek bed at 21:30 and establishes listening post observation post overlooking Maple and 2nd. Team Bravo begins the perimeter sweep clockwise. Rules of engagement challenge once. Engage if weapon seen. QRF stage and vehicle near substation 6. Comms check every 30 minutes. That concludes the execution paragraph. Moving on to sustainment. If you got this far, like the video, consider joining the Patreon. It's only $5 a month. Sustainment. How do you stay in the fight? This is the platoon sergeant or first sergeant's main mission here. Sustainment. I'm actually going to back up. So, for the situation, that will be your platoon leader. For your execution, that can be your platoon leader or one of the squad leaders. For the mission, that will be the platoon leader. I'm a little out of order there. So for the mission, it'll be platoon leader. For the execution, could be one of your key leaders, like a squad leader. Paragraph 4, sustainment will be the platoon sergeant or the first sergeant. And paragraph 5, command and signal will be the radio telephone operator, the RTO. All right, sustainment. How do you stay in the fight? Food, ammo, medical, gear, logistics, the chaplain, religious services, mail. This is all the things that fall under sustainment. Purpose. Logistics wins wars. Sustainment is about keeping your people fed, armed, and functional. If they're not fed, armed, if their weapons don't work, then they can't fight. So sustainment is very important for senior non-commissioned officers. That is why the platoon sergeant briefs it and owns the sustainment paragraph. Key subsections. Alpha, logistics. Resupply plan. Where's the water? Ammo. Who carries what? Time on target versus loadout. Don't carry too much or too little. That all goes into logistics for the resupply plan and time on target versus loadout. You don't want to have your people carrying too much or too little. Maintenance. Are your radios charged? Night vision. Weapons zeroed. Weapons cleaned. Maintenance for vehicles. All this must go into account for maintenance. Medical. Where's the medical gear? Who's carrying the medical gear? Who's the combat lifesaver identified, the CLS? Who is the most trained in trauma? Do we have any medics? Do we have any higher echelon of care? What is the evacuation plan? Are we using a vehicle? Are we using a helicopter? Where is the casualty collection point? Who will triage them at the casualty collection point? What are we focusing on? Massive hemorrhage, airway, breathing? You must establish this all in the sustainment paragraph, keeping it short and sweet. Keep in mind, rolling CCPs, that's a rolling casualty collection point, is not a thing. If you're a sergeant first class or a first sergeant and you're hearing me talk right now, or you're just a young corporal, or you're a medic listening to this, do not brief the battalion commander that you are going to have a rolling CCP, casualty collection point, because here's what happens. 2 dudes get hit at the first phase. Now you're leaving a medic and a rifleman there. 2 dudes get hit in phase 2. Guess what? Now you have to leave another rifleman or an NCO to render aid there. And it just keeps happening. So a rolling casualty collection point is a good way to get you automatically fail your evaluation. If you're an NCO or an officer listening to the words that are coming out of my voice, if you're a doc and you're listening to me, if your platoon sergeant, your battle buddy, really in this case, says you're going to use a casualty collection point that is rolling, you need to look at them and say, hey, Big Sergeant, this cringe YouTuber Trench Grenade said, have you ever said this, to tell you to shut up? And here's why. A rolling casualty collection point cannot work. It will not work. All right. Now, what you can brief is, if we take a casualty at this point of the operation, this is where everyone will go. If we take a casualty at this point of in phase 3, this is where everyone will go. But what you cannot do is say, oh, we will have a rolling CCP. That is going to cause you to drag a casualty for hundreds of meters, and you will most definitely die of heat exhaustion or enemy direct fire or indirect fire. If you need more examples, look at what's going on in Ukraine right now. Minuteman specific tips include water logistics. Know your consumption rate. What is a consumption rate, Trench? How much ammo, how much food, how much water, how much fuel, how much medical gear, etc. This can apply for everything, not just water. So, your consumption rate. Stash resupply kits. You need to have a resupply plan. Oftentimes what we have done is use a duffel bag, load up a ton of magazines, or field strip a ton of MREs, or get a ton of bottles of water and put them in a duffel bag. That way, if we're being overrun, a helicopter or a Humvee helicopter can fly over, or a Humvee can drive by. Simply throw out what we call a speedball on the battlefield. Sometimes, if we have access to extra IFAKs, we would just simply throw in 20 IFAKs in a duffel bag, and guess what happens? Throw that on us, and we have a ton of excess tourniquets, a ton of excess gauze, because guess what? I know all the medics are going to cringe when they hear this, but when a bunch of grunts that have high adrenaline start applying first aid or applying CLS, I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen. Tourniquets are going on wrong. People are going to stuff gauze in place. The doc or the surgeon is going to be like, why did you do this? So having more is always better. Battery plan. You need to understand, in certain environments, batteries die faster, slower, etc. So you need to understand a batteries plan and a comms plan and an optics battery plan. If you're using a Aimpoint product, typically guys need to have an extra couple sets of batteries on them. Night vision, you need to have an extra couple sets of batteries on you. Batteries die quick. If they get wet, it saps the juice. So just understand, batteries are always a problem in modern battlefield. That is why we love the ACOG so much. Train everyone in TCCC basics: tourniquets, wound packing, airway management. You can rehearse this. When you're waiting in line for chow, you can say a thing like casualty, boom, hemorrhage, right leg. Have your Joeys apply the tourniquet effect, boom, T for tourniquet on the forehead. Have them drag them to a tree nearby or a berm, and boom. If they fail, make them do it again after doing some corrective action. Things like airway, applying a nasal pharyngeal, making sure guys understand head tilt, chin lift. These basic things can help keep your troopers alive, especially when you, as the platoon sergeant or squad leader or platoon leader, are already dead. Well, you want your guys to be able to take care of the other casualties. TCCC, care under fire, combat casualty care, combat evacuation care. These are all things that need to be normalized in your plan. So for the platoon sergeant listening to this, wake up and normalize it. Here's an example. Each operator carries 3 liters of water, 24 hours of food, and field-stripped MREs, 1 resupply mag per buddy team. Normally, you keep that resupply mag maybe on the top flap of a ruck, or you have 2 resupply mags, and that is just your emergency mag on maybe the top of your ruck flap. IFAKs on belt need to be checked by the doc, okay? The primary trauma guy or doc is Mike or whoever. Brad will be located at X place or X team. So if you take a casualty, that is where they'll be located. The casualty collection point will be at the abandoned ranger station. The evac via side-by-side ATV, batteries for radios swapped at 0200 every day. This is just an example, but understand, for all my NCOs listen to this, if you fail at paragraph 4, then you have failed as a leader, you have failed your soldiers, and they will most definitely pay the price. If you have them carrying too much or too little gear, they will definitely learn the hard way. Guys, make sure you're paying attention to sustainment. Moving on to command and signal, paragraph 5. If you got this far, make sure you leave a llama emoji down below. Command and signal. Who's in charge? And how do we talk to each other? Paragraph 5. Purpose. Clear hierarchy and communication to prevent confusion and chaos. This section ensures everyone knows who to listen to and how to communicate. You need to understand the hierarchy. If the platoon leader dies, it's now, the assault squad leader. Then once we get to the next phase, then it'll become the platoon sergeant, etc. Key subsections include command. Who's in charge? What happens if they go down? Succession of command. Team leader is John. If John is injured, the second in command is Andre, etc. So it's not always by rank. Sometimes by phase of the operation, it's who is going to be closer to the friction point. So just because you're a platoon sergeant and you're not number 2 in the succession of command, and one of your young squad leaders is number 2, that is due to the phase. So don't get an ego about this. So succession of command. Bravo. Signal. Primary comms, radios, channels, frequencies, cell phone apps, Zello, signal, hand signals, pace plan. Primary, alternate, contingency, and emergency. Primary, Baofeng radio. Alternate, GMRS handheld. Contingency, whistle or flare or flaming rock. Emergency, runner or prearranged fallback position. I say again, pace plan. Challenge and password system for night operations. You must have a challenge and password. An example of a challenge and password would be like McDonald's and Sprite. So I would say, hey, Nighthawk, do you have any McDonald's? And she would answer, no, but I do have some Sprite. Or crisp Sprite. But you don't just say the word, you say it in a sentence. That way the enemy cannot pick up on it. So example, crisp and Sprite. Hey, do you have anything that's crisp? No, but I do have some Sprite. Something like that. Call signs include Bravo 2. This is Bravo 2 or Comanche 6, Comanche 1-6, Dagger 6, Dagger Juliet. This is all examples of a call sign. You don't want to say, hey, Nighthawk, is that you? Yeah, it's me, Trench. No, that's a good way to get your name blasted out on Al Jazeera. Minuteman specific tips include keeping radios pre-programmed. Use maps with grids and coordinate systems. Train to operate with no comms if needed. Fallback plans must be clear. Example of this paragraph includes primary comms on channel 3, call sign alpha password thunder, response strike, visual signal for fallback is green chem light. If a team leader is taken out, Bravo team leader will assume control. A finalized example of all these paragraphs would sound as follows. All right, welcome to Comanche 3rd Platoon's op order brief, and then you would just begin. You would introduce yourself. I'm Platoon Sergeant Trench, and this will be my op order. Area of operation grid 25 kilo. Tango Lima 9623-3344. I say again 9623-3344. 2 Tango Lima 9634-3255. I say again 9634-3255. Urban residential zone. Terrain is open with limited cover. Civilians are neutral but on edge. Suspected looting cells operating at 3-man teams with stolen sidearms. Local volunteer security teams operating 2 grids weather, light rain, low visibility after 2100. Mission. Comanche 3rd Platoon attacks the seize objective Dagger no later than daytime group in order to allow friendly freedom of maneuver. I say again, whatever platoon I just said. Comanche 3rd Platoon attacks the seize objective Dagger no later than daytime month group in order to allow friendly freedom of maneuver. Moving on to execution. Team Alpha infiltrates by creek bed at 2130 and establishes LPOV overlooking Maple in 2nd. Team Bravo begins perimeter sweep clockwise. Rules of engagement. Challenge once. Engage if seen. QRF stage and vehicle near substation 6. Comms check every 30 minutes. Paragraph 4. Each operator carries 3 liters of water, 24 hours of food, 1 resupply mag per buddy team. IFACs on belt. Primary trauma guy is Mike. Casualty collection point at abandoned ranger station. Evac via side-by-side ATV. Batteries for radios swapped at 0200. Paragraph 5. Primary comms on channel 3. Call sign alpha. Password thunder. Response strike. Visual signal for fallback is green light. If team leader is taken out, Bravo team leader assumes control. All right, guys. This concludes my, class on operations order. I hope this helps you guys stay alive for your Minecrafting needs. If you got this far, all I ask is that you leave a llama in the comments down below. Let me know if this is helpful. Let me know if this helps with your Minecraft server. Consider joining the Patreon. And just understand, an operations order isn't just a document, it's a shared mental model of the mission. If your whole team can't rehearse and explain it in simple terms, it doesn't work. Gear doesn't win the fight, planning and discipline and coordination do. Thanks for being here. Until next time, it's going to be Trench Grenade, your average operations order video enjoyer that your mom said that we have at home, signing out. Cheers.